That's it.
I'll go there, man.
Hold on a second.
Pete.
That's us, Peter.
Live.
Okay, we're live. Ladies and gentlemen of Facebook land, YouTube world, and the media sphere in general, this is your weekly dose of Mauls, Balls and All, where we have a chat about all things rugby and what's going on in the rugby world at the moment. Joining me this evening are some very familiar faces to you all. You will all know who they are. We have Connacht's finest, James Grennan has joined us. Matt Boland is with us as well. The Munster fan in Glasgow, Mike Reedy, is also joining us. And the Munster fan about 5 minutes down the road here in Dublin. How are you? Are you well? And our guest, our guest this evening, folks, he graduated from the University of Limerick with a Master's in Sports Journalism. He is one of the up-and-coming young, well, I don't know if he's up-and-coming, but he is certainly there at the moment. He is a superb writer of sports coverage. He has a Substack, Caolan Scully. Check it out on Substack. It's well worth a read, folks. A lot of his articles he has written have been printed online and indeed in the print media. I was aware of him, but I first met him face-to-face at the Wales game on the Six Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to the show. How the hell are you, buddy?
Thanks very much, Peter. Thanks very much, gentlemen. It is it's a good evening to be on. It's a very sporting evening to be on, as our Irish viewers will know. But no, look, it's great to be on talking rugby and looking back at a week that it started off. We kind of joked about, let's not talk about the rugby this week. Let's talk about the GA and let's talk about Kate O'Connor as well and the soccer. And now it's literally come full circle. The biggest talking point of the week is not rugby, which is sad, but we'll get into it. But thanks for having me on. It's an introduction I haven't got yet before, so I may have a word with my friends to up their game. To be honest, they've been outdone.
Well, there you go. I'll tell you. Come here, Caolan. You have the soccer match on there beside you, don't you?
I do have it on over there.
Okay, so will you shout an update if anything happens, just so people watching who might be in the same position?
No problem. Shouting would be no problem.
I'll give you one. There's 3 minutes added on this first half.
All right, okay. I see people. Here we go. Johan, I knew that people are going to come on this. Are you not watching the soccer ball? We have people update us, Johan. Thank you. Matt Ball. All right, Jesus Christ. Bevan. Good evening, all. How are you, Bev? How are you? All right, let's kick off. It was reported yesterday, 42 by Murray Kinsler, that Munster's financial woes are catching up with them. And I will just call up a screenshot I took of one of the articles here. And let me just read before I all ask you the question. And a lot of people don't realise this, but the IRFU haven't struggled.
Sorry, Peter. There's something happening with your mic there. You're breaking in and out a little bit.
Am I?
Yeah.
Can you hear? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah. But
no, some of it is coming through here.
It's a CPU issue.
That's so bloody annoying. Am I any clearer here on this?
Yeah, you're good there now.
Okay, at the moment.
Just
I'm good then. Okay. Okay, I'll stay exactly where I am. Okay, folks, now, as I was saying, all four, by the IRFU, right, all four provinces have their playing budgets by their paymasters at the IRFU. I'm quoting. But Munster, Caolan, I'll ask you first. Munster have brought in a group of 90 to 100 people. Now, this is not frontline staff, folks. This is background staff. And then I see, Caolan, people saying, well, why don't they sell Musgrave Park? Why do they need two stadiums? Well, Munster don't own Musgrave Park, folks. The IRFU own Musgrave Park. Munster manage it. Caolan, what's, in your opinion, what's going on in the background there in Munster? Has it been mismanaged for the last, I think, 2019, I think actually it was you, Dave Sheedy, that said 2019 has been going downhill. What do you think, Caolan, is going on there?
I suppose, firstly, when we talk about a topic like this, I'm always conscious that this is real people, no more than ourselves, that are in line to lose jobs, and we should probably touch on that first and foremost. And I wish them all the best. And if that's at Munster still, or if that's elsewhere, but from the best of my knowledge, this is all back of house stuff. So that kind of indicates, for all the talk of gate revenues, whatever, this is your sponsorships, this is the amount of people that are employed, this is an efficiency thing. And when I dug into it during the week, it does appear that the same review was going on across the board. Leinster, Munster, Ulster, and Connacht. And I would not be surprised if similar, maybe not the same scale of job cuts are announced elsewhere, but a few job cuts will be announced elsewhere, because in the eyes of a province, your playing budget is one thing. That's your 8, 9, 10, 11 million, whatever it may be. And your business budget is the other, and that's your staff wages, your maintenance, all this kind of stuff. So I kind of split into two. And look, I suppose, and I did a podcast earlier with Three Red Kings on this, and as he kind of said to me, or sorry, as I kind of said to him, I don't know 100% about the sponsorship or any of that kind of stuff. Now, Ian Flanagan was hired because he was a big commercial guy. He had connections with DHL, he had connections with big companies. That was one of the reasons he got the job in the first place. And for me, even though I wouldn't go as far as to say it's all on him, this is just what I'm hearing, I would have been firmly that Johnny Petrie, for example, was a big issue at Oakville. It probably overstayed his welcome and caused a couple of problems. So it would be remiss of me not to look at Ian Flanagan's role and wonder if it might be time for him to move aside as well, because ultimately, again, for all the Tyke Burns types and the I know Tyke Burns is the only centrally contracted player, but Tyke Burns, I know Jack Crowley's on good money, Craig Casey is Irish internationals. For all those guys, these are people on 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year, 50 grand a year, not me. And that ultimately has to boil down to who's in the office and who's overseeing the business side of things. To the best of my knowledge, that is Ian Flanagan. And it's a precarious position, because as much as we can hone in on Munster, and I know it'll take the eyeballs as it always does, it's a rugby issue too. Rugby as a sport is not profitable. That's the unfortunate reality. And even you take a week like this, and obviously as someone in the journalistic trade, Ireland winning tonight, Ireland winning over the next week would be great. It would create more jobs, more buzz. But for rugby, for provincial rugby, we still haven't seen what creates a buzz since 2018. We're kind of stuck in this cycle. European Cup to me is kind of dead. And now you've got the element that we've won 2 URCs, and there's been nothing. There's been no boost. There's been no gravitas towards it. And unfortunately, unless we have teams competing in the European Cup, I don't see how we bring people back in to fill out Thomond Park, the RDS, the Dexcom, Ravenhill. Ravenhill not really full either, and it's a magnificent stadium of a good size. So I think in general, and I know there was a lot of talk about the doom and gloom for February is gone, thank God. I think this is a rude awakening, because this is job cut that is costing a whole lot of money. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge amount of money compared to player wages. So it's frightening. It's genuinely frightening for the state of the game in the country. And before I bring in other people, I made an off-the-cuff comment to someone before that we're closer to 3 professional teams than we are to 5 in this country, and that's just my sense. The more I talk to people this week, is that we are closer to 3 than we are to 5, and I don't think we realize that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what you've just said there, Caolan. Really good points raised there. Dave Sheedy, you have been critical in some of your comments of the management of Munster Rugby. I presume you still are that critical head on you.
I'll be honest with you, Pete. Because I'm biased and Mike's biased, I'd actually like to hear what James and Matt have to say on the subject first before I get into it, just to see any ideas coming from them.
Okay. Okay, go on, James. I'll come to you then. Connacht's finest. As I've asked, Caolan,
mess. Look, as Caolan has said, there's a human element to this as well, and I personally have been through a number of redundancies in my career. Now, luckily, I was blessed. I was well treated, and I hope anyone who's losing their job in Munster is well treated and they get all the supports that they need to move on to the next career. Having said that, it's shocking that Munster, which is such a proud club and has such a massive fan base, you go to Thomond Park as a spectator or as an opposition supporter going in there. Like there's 52,000 referees in the stadium. They all know the rules, the laws inside out and back to front, and they're so proud. And it's every man, woman, and child in Limerick City is a rugby fan, and this to me is a travesty that they're in such a dire straits. Now I understand there's a commercial aspect to it, and we in Connacht are blessed to have the Dexcom money. I think that has been a huge deal. It's a multi-year deal for Connacht rugby, and you can see there's. I was at the event the other night, celebrating the new stand opening up and all that. It's great to see, but I don't know what the solution is for Munster here, or is it as Caolan said, it's all four provinces are in a similar situation. Dexcom is sold out actually for Saturday. It's an afternoon game, 2:00, 2:15 kickoff, and it's already sold out, which is brilliant to see. The last couple of games I was down in Munster. I was down actually for the last time I was in Thomond Park was for the Ireland A game against England, and I had booked seats and they were right up at the top, and I went in and the steward says to me, he says, look, there's no point going up there. There's only 5,000 tickets sold on this side. You can sit wherever you want, which I thought was shocking and disgraceful for a game of such magnitude in my view. So I don't know what the answers are, but there's a lot going on there, and it saddens me to see it. I lived in Limerick for a number of years, so I know Munster, I know Limerick inside out and back to front, and I know the passion that's down there for the sport. So it's heartbreaking for me to see that. I really don't like to see it.
How long?
Peter, just for 2 seconds. There's a comment there about concerts, and as much as I've made a routine planning, that's something Munster have done well. They've brought back concerts into Thomond Park. I think there's 8 in Virgin Media Park every year, which is the max that their license allows. Things like that are good. Things like that are they make a bit of money. They actually make more money by all accounts than say getting 15,000 in at a URC quarterfinal, which you may end up getting because that could be like a Friday night game against the Emirates Lions or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
So they have done stuff like that, but ultimately, and James, I think you made a great point with the A game. Like the tickets for that game are like 50 quid. Like people are trying to make ends meet here, and it is very tough to justify that game. For example, if you're going to Ireland, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Ireland, Italy, how do you justify paying 50 quid to watch an A game where it's a bunch of lads you probably see for 30 quid 2 weeks later? Granted, the 2 weeks later URC round was absolute dirge across the board, but you can see them then. And this is the thing: it's ticket pricing, it's pints, it's diesel, it's so many things, and as well as that, like Munster are in the unenviable position where they're competing against one of the great hurling teams of all time and possibly one of the great football teams of all time. And like people say that doesn't matter, but ultimately it's hard enough to get people up from Kerry as it is. Never mind having David Clifford being the LeBron James of Ireland currently.
We don't really want to talk about GAA here now, in fairness.
Hey. I was wondering how long
on.
Let you go, Caolan.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's been heated arguments on here, Caolan, in the past about mentioning GAA, so we don't want to go down that road. It's all rugby.
I'll it down, don't worry.
No worries at all. Hold on. Before I go on to you, Matt, Bishop Len, evening lads, I'm just here to make sure Sheedy doesn't swear, can't be lowering the tone of the show. Yes, okay, Bevan. I thought the IRFU own all the provincial teams. Well, they pay their wages. So, hello, boss. If the budgets aren't being managed well, like they do care until it's too late. Yeah, a lot of truth in what you say, Bev. Niall Steins Hi, Niall. Maybe the Wolf Tones can do another one of them. This is our last ever gig, and we mean it this time. Show in Tom. That's what you were talking about, Kevin.
Yeah.
Some cash in for Munster. Yeah, maybe so. Thank you, James. Matt, your thoughts on this apparent mess with the Ulster Munster coffers?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, at the bones and heart of every business is money and revenue, and it's like a catch-22 situation. If you increase your ticket pricing, you're gonna annoy fans. They won't buy tickets, but again, you can't sell tickets below a cost that you're not earning money. So the fact that it's being mismanaged, yeah, it probably has budget-wise, but on the other side of that, though, like if you've got a budget for energy during the year, and then some gobshite decides to invade Iran and jacks up the price of oil, that wouldn't been in the pre-season budget. Do you know what I mean? So there are scenarios where budgets can go out of kilter during the season for many different reasons. So it's very tough. But like the IRFU were losing money. It's understandable that the likes of the provincial sides lose money as well, because it's business. They need to make money. They need to survive. Same thing happened Connacht years and years ago, where they were nearly disbanded, and thankfully they weren't. We definitely don't want this scenario coming with Munster, because, as James said, they're a proud team. They've been around since the beginning of rugby in Ireland. They are the backbone of provincial rugby in Ireland, and if that was to happen, it'd be devastating. And look, I'd say there's a lot of people out there that are really annoyed that it's come to this point. But as in terms of solutions and how to fix it, I don't know. I'm not that person, but I can understand how these things get mismanaged, because there's a lot of factors that are beyond people's control at times.
James Grennan, can I ask you, is your dishwasher on in the background?
No, everything is quiet here. I'll go
Okay,
on mute for a second to see if that helps.
No, it just says there's something going on in someone's background. I don't know who it is or whatever. I can hear something. Then I go, no, it's not me. I'm dead silent here. All right, we will truck on. Dave Sheedy, you've heard what Caolan has said. You've heard what James Brennan has said. You've heard what Matt Boland has said. Back to you. You being the Munster fan, what do you think?
It's just, you said at the start, there's 90 to 100 people being employed in the backroom staff in Munster, was it?
Yeah, but they're not all. Yes,
Right.
that's what they're asking them for. It's not all of them. They brought in 9,200 to ask for voluntary redundancies.
How many, like, that's, I don't know anything about the backroom workings. I only know what I've seen over the years from going to Thomond Park, and hearsay that you hear, like, I mean, I could never get tickets to the old Thomond. I started getting tickets in 2008. And just over the years, you see little things that they're bringing in that you don't need. Like, the new thing now is every game I go to, get out your app and, we have a little light show and stuff like that. There's no need for that. Little things that I know I'm being really detailed, being a prick about, but stuff like still costs money. Like, I mean,
how does that cost? How does that cost Munster rugby? If the individual is going to take it,
you have to pay for it. You have to get people to. You have to whatever all that website stuff that I have no idea.
All right,
about.
okay.
Like think about it. We bought the players we've bought that have done nothing over the last 20 years. When you think of John de Villiers, Damien Dialende barely turned up a game. Snyman was injured for a whole day. We're playing big bucks for these guys. When there was a chance to go to the AIL clubs and bring younger lads through. Like, when you hear Paul O'Connell signing for too long, and you hear something on the grapevine that he will not come back to Munster again until the upper management is dissected from the top to the bottom. It's like every organization, if it's rotten at the top, it'll trickle down and be rotten at the bottom. I don't believe for 1 second it was good under Gareth Fitzgerald. God rest his soul. I definitely don't think it's good against Flanagan, because last time I was down Thomond, I saw that fecker walk out and he was there with his 2 or 3 mates taking selfies with a big smoke face in them. Like, where's all the revenue coming from with Munster? This is the thing that we need to know. Is it sponsorship? Is it ticket sales? Is it gate merchandise? I'd love to know where all the revenue is, because let's be honest, the only time Thomond is full is the Leinster game in the last, I don't know, 6-7 years. Bar maybe one big Heineken Cup game, since the Heineken Cup has been dissected and chopped up to a poor competition now. But the Leinster games have always been the biggest.
Sorry, Dave, to cut you off, but you've raised an important. And I see Caolan is keeping an eye on the soccer for us. I like it. Thanks, Caolan.
Yeah.
But Dave, you were asked about where the revenue comes from. The revenue, we all know where it comes from, right? It comes from Bank of Ireland sponsorship, although that's a blanket sponsorship of all 4 provinces. It comes from, then they have Shannon Airport on their shorts.
Yeah, so you're saying it's mainly from sponsors.
And probably fourth or fifth down the list. Now, Caolan, maybe you can correct me on this, but I'd say 4th or 5th down the list is match day ticket sales.
Well, the last
probably further down.
It's around that. I would argue it's around that, because I think like sponsorships are, and to be fair to Ian Flanagan, he did do a good interview with Simon Lewis in the Examiner before, where he explained why moving games to quarter 3 can't be done on a whim, because there's corporate deals tied up 2-3 years in advance that we'll have this box, we'll have these seats, we'll have this. Like Munster do very well off their Adidas deal, simply because they're one of the last few clubs with Adidas anymore, and they sell an awful lot of jerseys. One thing I found, I'm not living in Dublin anymore, but every week in Dublin, I'd probably see one bit of Munster gear somewhere, which is kind of insane when you think about it, because Dublin has so many teams of different codes that I can't mention, but there's so many teams that you could look at. But I think it's like that's a factor. When it comes to player wages, it is generally your IRFU and your outside investment, whoever that might be, the 1014 it used to be called. I don't think it's called that anymore.
Yeah,
so you've got things like that. But like revenue is drying up then as well. Like again, attendance, Justin Bay sold out the whole time. Still getting 20,000. You know, there was like 13,000 for the Cardiff game. That was their lowest in Thomond Park this year. That's still better than other clubs would do. It's just there's the maintenance costs. There's even like you mentioned the Iran conflict. Munster had to change flights. It's a huge logistical nightmare going on, to the point that, to the best of my knowledge, those games were very close to being moved out of South Africa.
But Caolan, the culture of people has changed in Limerick, and like my family's from Clare, I know it's in there as well, and the surrounding counties. Whereas before, like, we'll say 10 years ago, what are you doing the weekend? Going to the match. What are you doing this weekend nowadays? I'll probably watch it on TV. No one's going to the games anymore. Like, I drive down from Dublin for every fucking game. I don't care about the fuel. I mean, I'll pay for it eventually. But, like that the point I was trying to make, the New Zealand game was supposed to be a Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And I bought tickets under the presumption that it was at Páirc Uí Chaoimh, because I think there was advertising like that. And then they switched it to Thomond Park. And my father has a friend who works in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and it was this main sponsor that got to switch back to Thomond Park, and apparently Páirc Uí Chaoimh were feckin' livid over that. So there's 20,000 extra tickets gone. When you think about it,
the Cork Limerick thing is a factor. It absolutely is.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
It is, but what I notice is every game in Cork, I know the stadium in Musgrave is a lot smaller, but every game, Munster game, is sold out. Every single game. If they played every game in Cork in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, I guarantee it'd be nearly sold out, because Cork people turn up. Like, to get from Waterford or Kerry to Limerick is like a 2.5 hour drive, depending where you're coming, because the roads are so bad. Like, I'm sure Cork people, O'Mahony has said it, a load of them have said it, they're sick to death of driving that bastard in Cork Limerick road. And it takes its toll when you're doing it 10, 15 years. I'm grand. I'm sure I'm all the way to Limerick.
I'm sure it does. I'm just anxious to get, because he's been waiting patiently. The other one on here, Mike Reedy, your thoughts on all this? What's going on?
Well, I'm a little bit detached from it all, but the concern I have, I mean, Caolan, you mentioned that this could be similar throughout all 4 provinces. Is that the case?
I'm not sure in terms of number of redundancies being asked or how they cut costs, but I think every province is going to be asked to cut costs because
Well,
I'm not
Exactly.
going to use the Charlie Haughey line, but that's essentially what this is.
No, you're right, Caleb.
it seems
Go on, Mike.
endemic of what's happening around the world with rugby. I mean, New Zealand rugby is in bad financial state. South Africa apparently is not as strong as we thought it was financially. English rugby is struggling. Scottish rugby is Wales is shambolic, losing a team. France seem to be the only team, and do we know for certain that they're stable? Like lads, this the chickens are coming home to roost, maybe.
Genuinely.
No, but Mike,
player wages. Like there's sky high
see
at the moment.
the difference, Caolan and Mike, is that the top 5, 6, 7, or more probably of the French top 40 are private, like England.
That may very well, Peter. That may very well be the case, but still, they have to be financially sound. And English clubs are the same. Owned by companies, or owned by individuals. The clubs
Some of them are, and the most obvious one is Bath.
Yeah. So,
Sorry, Peter. Just I was on mute there for a while. Apparently, it's not me and it's not Matt that has the noise in the
No,
background.
I don't know
Also,
what it's obviously.
I've just got word from my daughter who's over in Paris at the moment on her TY trip, and they're watching over there. So hi, Maeve. Hope you're having a great time.
Hi, Maeve. How are you, Maeve?
How's it
You'll be
going, Maeve?
mortified now. Sorry, Maeve. I apologise.
Keep doing what you're doing, Maeve. You're doing great rugby stuff for Connacht. So keep doing it. You're making
Absolutely.
your dad and your mum very proud, and us too, I might add. All right, okay, Mike. Sorry, have you finished your point there?
it's an absolute concern. Really,
Of course you
is
have.
a concern because I mean, people are losing their jobs, so that's obviously not a very nice thing. And where is it going to end? That's the concern I have. Like this is just could be just the beginning, and maybe the reality is it's a lot worse than we hope it's not. But it doesn't sound
Okay.
great.
Sorry, Mike. I don't.
No, it doesn't sound good at all. Like I mean, Christ, the last thing you want to hear happening. Like living in Scotland, the Irish rugby has been the envy of the world, basically. The blueprint of the Irish game, like, was revered all around the world. And now,
But the player management of it, Mike, certainly was the central
Yeah.
contract, I think, which
Well,
England have kind of adopted
I
a
think it's
kind of a
been
thing
more than
about
that, if I'm honest. I think it's been more. I think it's been the full package. The way their IRFU have managed the how it's going. Like so,
All right.
It's tragic, really. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Hopefully it's not going to get worse.
Let me make a quick point there, Peter. Like the financial situation of the Munster has always been badly mismanaged, and we've known that for years. When you look at the amount of coaches we've gone through, like JP has given, what did I hear? He gave 5 million for that stadium to be built. There's a secret Cork consortium who are paying money for certain players to get in, and they have to be picked regardless because the Cork lads put the money up. There's always been bad management of purchase of players and coaches and everything. And if this situation finally gets Munster resolved, then let it get as bad as possible, because I'm sick of this over the last 15 years now. I really am.
Okay, thanks, Dave. There's Maeve Grennan saying hello to all of us. Hi, Maeve. Hope you're having a good time. But Caolan, following on, we had, I think, excuse me, we had Luke Pearce on here, Caolan, and Luke, in his own words, I'm not speaking out of turn here, said that the game has just gone too complicated. And when we had him on, we said, well, if me and all of us here, being a rugby fan, if someone had never seen the game in their life and they saw a penalty given for playing the ball in the ruck or whatever, on
Your mic
the
is
law.
Yeah.
Can't
Is
hear
my
you.
mic on? Is my mic on? Shit. Is it gone?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
No,
on.
you're back. You're back.
You're
You're
back.
back.
Over there.
But
Stay
it's
where you
fading in
are.
and out.
Come back.
Sorry. I don't know what's going on here. There's interference on my headphones, so hopefully we can last the show. But Caolan, is that a case that just the game is just too bloody complicated and people are just switching off and go, here, Jesus.
I have never heard it being the case, but I do
Right.
believe there is an element of it because, I think there's an element of it. But then the flip side to that argument is, well, the national team get better viewership than, big soccer matches, Barron tonight, big other sport matches, in finals. So is that really the case? And I think there's a bigger issue insofar as the pathway to go from TV viewer who watches Six Nations to provincial viewer who watches provinces is not really
Yes.
there. I think that's a bigger issue because, like, you're looking at, 700,000 who have watched Ireland Wales on Friday night. Maybe about 600,000 were actually watching the match because, it's pub numbers and it's inflated or whatever. But on the flip side of that, then, like, how many of them are going to even bother about the provinces? People say, "Oh, there's clips. They see this, they see that." They don't. It's back out of the psyche. It's back. It's gone. You know what I mean? And I think that's a bigger issue. I don't think we have, and that's my point about the URC wins. We haven't managed to tap into how are we getting this bubble, Irish rugby's time in the sun, and trickle it down. I don't think we've done that very well, and I think that's part of the problem. And that's not just IRFU. That is the provinces. That is their communications, their media, their socials. I think there's too many games on TV. I think that's part of the issue. Like, if you have to watch Munster Zebra or that Connacht Glasgow game was terrible for 70 minutes, for instance, it's not going to entice you. And as you said, then you add in the rules, and then you add in the fact that it's, sometimes half empty stadiums turn people away. Not me. I don't really care if there's no one at a match I'm watching, but rugby just doesn't seem to be helping itself. Now, I think that's something Luke Pearce would agree with as well. We do find a way to make everything very, very tricky. And like when you're a niche sport, like athletics benefits because how do you explain athletics? Be fast. Simple. Everyone understands that. Soccer, score goals, everyone understands it. But for
Boxing.
rugby being niche sport, it just feels too oversaturated to me. And it's just a little bit messy,
Well, do you think then, Caolan, it was a mistake to bring in the South African teams into the URC?
From a quality standpoint, no.
Right.
In terms
But
of the cost level now seems to be a very serious issue. Unfortunately, and I wouldn't have been. I'm not pro Premiership. I think the Premiership is quite an overrated league in general. I think it's very attacking. It has no real semblance of top level European or lower level international rugby. But I think if we've seen a Prem URC merger, are people going to go, I know where Leicester is? Yes. We don't know where the Bulls are. That's kind of part of the issue with regionalisation. Like even the NFL, they all have franchise names, but it's New England Patriots, it's Chicago Bears. Like, you don't need to be a genius to know where they're from. Whereas, how do you tell someone, okay, the Dragons are in this very specific part of Wales, and the Bulls are in this specific part of South Africa, and also you have to take about 3 flights to get to Pretoria when you're already captured. Again, it just doesn't help itself. And don't get me wrong, Stacking teams have been great. Like, the quality of rugby has improved in the URC, but I'm not 100% sure it's working now when costs get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter.
yes, a very good point. Go on, James, and then I'll come to you, Dave. Go on, James.
The thing about that confused me about South African rugby. Now they win the World Cup. They've won it quite a lot. They're one of the best teams in the world. Yet the tickets are on sale in South Africa for the Stormers or the Lions games or the Bulls games. They're like the equivalent of €5, and there's about 100 people in the stadium. I don't know how they make money or how they can afford to and the fact it costs thousands to get down to South Africa for us traveling fans. So I don't know how that's all works.
Ellis Park being in the roughest part of Joburg doesn't really help either. And Ryan will tell you that. Like, it's not a very good location, unfortunately.
And plus the fact, Caolan, as our colleague Dara Weston, the point that he has raised on several times when this point has been brought up, South Africa have a load of these stadiums that are vacant and they just need to use them. You know, these like South Africa. I don't know. Do they have a Musgrave Park? Would they have a game in a Musgrave Park version in South Africa? I mean, there are all of these massive.
The Stormers have played games in Stellenbosch, and I think they may have played like one game in Athlone, not the Athlone that we all know.
Yeah.
So they have definitely done it, and I think the Sharks have done it. Not sure. Oh no, the Lions have done it, not the Sharks. But as you said, they're pretty majestic stadiums. Like, would they be better off in smaller Curry Cup stadiums?
Yeah,
very,
absolutely.
Very
Yeah.
possible. Very possible.
Yeah. No, a good point, Ken. Go on, Dave. You had your hand up there when I was.
No,
I was saying.
One thing I don't get about all this financial situation thing, like in the 2000s, we didn't have much. The international team was getting a triple crown and blah blah blah, and being there. Like Munster were competing, Leinster were competing, and now it's like, oh, the international team don't get second in the Six Nations, we're fucked. If Munster don't qualify for the Champions Cup, we're fucked. If Leinster don't get to a final, we're fucked. Like it makes no sense. We had no money back then, and now everything's based on position and stuff because we need the money. Like, where has I presume it's the same hardcore support that every province has. Like, I see the same faces in Thomond all the time. I'm sure the lads, you see the same faces going in. Depending on success, the bandwagoners will come and go and so on and so forth. But it's like, how is this such a financial burden now, whereas 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have that, or it was never talked about anyway.
Yeah, no, a good point. Matt, I'm going to ask you a question which wasn't on the list, and as always, we tend to shoot off on tangents. Is money reckon money in rugby? And what I mean by that is the corporates are getting too involved in the tickets and the attendances at some of these games. And we've covered this in the past. There is probably, I think, I remember listening to Bill Sweeney, the RFU chief executive, and he was saying to the audience he was on that I think about 20 or 30%, Caolan, maybe you can correct me on this, of the entire ticket allocation for Twickenham goes to corporates, goes to sponsors, that's a massive amount of people. And I'd imagine, Matt, it's a similar number for the Aviva. And that's why you have these corporate boxes, people in the seats, and the atmosphere is well known in the Aviva to be absolutely shite. So that's what I mean by, is money ruining the money coming into rugby games?
Yeah, well, look, you've made a point. We've spoken about it here before, the fact that there was lots of corporate tickets going, and they were going to people that were literally just going out for a day out drinking, going to sit in a stadium and watch a team play. They weren't really interested in what was going on, and it wasn't just it's not all of them. Like, I get it that some of them would be really into rugby and they'd be delighted to get their tickets to go, but there is a lot of that goes on. But it's not just that then as well. You've got the other side of it as well, with the influencers and the Instagrammers that have absolutely no interest in rugby, and they're there just to take a picture and to tag themselves in at Aviva Stadium and go, oh, Ireland v Wales, or Ireland, here I am, taking a picture, and they've no interest. You know, we've all been at games where you've had people around you or in front of you, and they come in late, they get up every so often to get out, get drinks, go to the toilet and come back, and they're just not even watching the game. Do you know what I mean? And you said it yourself, like, you said you were at a game, or somebody said they were at a game, and towards the end they left early, and one of the lads said to the other lad, oh, is your dad going to get us tickets for the next game?
That was me. Yes, I was sitting beside. Yeah, that was a while back. That was a while back.
That was the girls, actually, wasn't it? Yeah.
Or whatever, yeah. So look, there is a bit that, look, you've made a fair point. There's money, the money corporate thing, is that ruining it? Sort of, probably. There's a little bit, but I'd love to know what the percentage is, because you mentioned 20% in Twickenham goes to corporates. I'd love to know
something like that. Don't quote me on that, but
something
around that figure. Yeah.
but I'd love to know what the percentage is in Aviva Stadium that goes to corporates. I'd love to know.
And I think as well as that, it's not the direct tickets to corporates. It's clubs selling a certain allotment to companies for their sponsorship.
Yeah,
I know technically it's not supposed to be happening, but we know what happens across the board.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
it might-
and that's a fair point as well, because I suppose ever since COVID as well, a lot of them clubs that would be at grassroots level would have been struggling massively for money and funds. So in that instance, I actually like I wouldn't be too upset if they were selling it to try and earn money to put it back into grassroots rugby clubs. But
not at all.
and I don't
Mary's
think
used to
anybody
do
would.
that, man. Mary's used to do that.
Yeah.
Half our tickets used to be given to Investec.
Yeah, that's right.
All right,
None of
here we
the
go.
members get some, you know.
Sorry, just a comment here from Bev. Was going to go to South Africa and watch Connacht, but we were playing in Joburg, and as a girl who would be on her own, it would not be safe at all in such a rough place. I think that's what you kind of touched on that, Caolan. So travelling fans don't work in that respect. Plus, it would be €700 for flights and hotel. £700? What, a Ryanair flight to South Africa now? Including spending money and ticket money, and the same will cover the cost over 1,000. But can stay in Ireland for the same amount of time for less than half the price. Yeah, Bev, a good point. I've never been to South Africa, so I can't say whether that is the case, but I believe you. Okay, Caolan.
Is there any update in the score?
It's still 2-1.
Still 2-1.
Yeah.
Still 2-1. All right. Okay, good
25
stuff.
minutes left.
Keep it. How long left, Caolan?
25 minutes. Sorry, 24 plus at a time. So if you see
We
me
might
drop,
It's a long
I'll
old
give you my
game.
address in case.
All right. Okay, Caolan, back to you. Moving on to something that was on the list. Dedicated fan zones. This came up in the past, but didn't happen. It's due to happen at the derby, Leicester versus Northampton in May. I am absolutely against this. I don't think our game needs dedicated fan zones. Caolan, have you a strong opinion about this? I certainly do. I think it's a stupid idea.
I'm not a massive fan of it. And James, you may want to block your ears, but the MRSC allotment for the Connacht Munster game gave them a certain section as well. And it's now, don't get me wrong, right? French clubs do this, and sometimes it works because you get instances like a pocket of Munster fans in La Rochelle, and there's colour and there's vibrancy, and it works. And I know of people who weren't in that section then who were like, well, I was sat beside this family and I gave them a flag and they gave me a scarf, and that's the whole rugby thing that we supposedly love. And I do as well, don't get me wrong. I'm not involved in it as much anymore because I'm working at these games, but that's part of what makes the sport very, very cool, is that you have these moments and you have these family and friends moments. But I suppose, am I in favour? Probably not, but I understand, especially in England, because in England they have such a soccer psyche. I understand why you do it. I wouldn't be massively in favour of it here, but I do like when fans almost do it organically, and you do get a little pocket together. And you know, like I know of people who are up, like I was over in Toulon myself, went with friends, related birthday present, and there was like 40 Munster fans sitting together, and it was very, very cool because it adds to the atmosphere. The Toulon fans respect that. They're that type of club. They love it. La Rochelle love it. You know, and I think if you went to Bath, for instance, one of those great Premiership clubs, they'd love seeing you just rock up and taking over a section. But I think when it's given to you, it does change the dynamic. You know, that's where I don't know if you're at the Scotland game. I remember hearing Flower of Scotland either side of me. If you only heard it from
I was at the Scotland game. You were there.
Yeah, I know. I just couldn't. To be fair, I mean, you see a lot of people there, and not everyone in the media box were media either. So you know, another thing.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
When you kind of have like those sounds coming from around the place, it's very, very cool.
It was actually brilliant. It was, yeah.
If it was just one section, it wouldn't have had the same effect. You know what I mean? And that's where I'd be against it, because I think having it scattered creates a different type of atmosphere, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can I chime in there, please?
Go on, James.
I'm fully, wholeheartedly, 1,000% against this. making it arbitrarily a visiting fan section. What I see in the sports ground, or Dexcom as we're now prescribed to call it, we see clusters of visiting supporters coming in, whether it be French supporters or whether it be Scottish supporters or from wherever, and there's nothing to stop anyone openly buying tickets that are available to buy in groups. You can buy 20, 30 tickets together for any rugby club, and I think that's the way it should be. That's the way it should stay, because I, for one, enjoy having the crack with the visiting fans.
Of course, yeah.
I see. There's lots of the Connacht supporters all have the pins, the season ticket holder pins, and we see guys coming over, particularly from Scotland. They do the same thing, and I see guys swapping pins. Guys from Edinburgh or Glasgow or for wherever, giving season ticket holder pins to Connacht guys and swapping them around. And I think it's a brilliant thing, and I would hate to lose that. And do you know what? If it was prescribed that the visiting fans had to be in one section, I'd be looking for a ticket in that section as well myself, to go over and have the crack with them, because I would miss it.
Yeah, true. Okay, Mike Reedy, your thoughts on this whole thing about dedicated fan zones in stadiums that's due to be brought in for the Leicester Northampton game in May coming up?
I'm totally against it. Plus, I've been to like high-level soccer games over the years, and I was at a Champions League final actually in Kiev. And I was in the wrong end of the stadium from the team I supported, and it wasn't a nice place to be honest with you. But I've been going to rugby for fucking decades, and you sit beside somebody from the other team, and as James said, you have the fucking crack, and you could have a pint with them even or whatever.
Exactly.
And like I can remember sitting in the terraces of Twickenham in the 80s. We're getting absolutely fucking pumped.
Oh, we're going back to this Twickenham thing again, are we? Yeah.
And I started singing Molly Malone, and all the fucking England fans joined it in. It's different. It's completely different to other sports, and that's how we have to keep it. If we go down the road of, I mean, why would you do it? Like, rugby supporters have never, like I said, I've been going for decades, and I've never seen trouble. The only trouble at a rugby game is always on the pitch. You never see any incident. In all the years I've been going, never seen an incident at any game, and I think it'd be an absolute shame. Be a shame if they go down that road. Listen,
so have you ever seen two guys or women having fisticuffs at a rugby match?
No, absolutely not. Only on the pitch.
I'd say everyone would answer the same way.
And I've seen lots of it, by the way, at other sports.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Mike. Sorry, Mike. Have you finished your point? Sorry.
No.
All right. Okay. Matt Boland. This idea of I know we've covered this before or touched on it before, but it's just a ridiculous idea. I know what Caolan has said. I know the point he's making, and I agree with it. James and Mike, Matt, what are your thoughts on this dedicated fan zones?
In the wise words of Nigel Owens, lads, this is not soccer.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay. And the mentality is completely different. And as James said, the fans come over to engage with the other teams, to go out, meet people, and like that, swap pins or swap jerseys or anything like that, and have crack. And that is all part of the atmosphere, but it's also part of the ethos of rugby, because you respect your opposition on the pitch, you respect the officials, you respect your team, you respect everybody. And most of the people that go to see games have played the sport in some way, shape, or form, whether they've been on the pitch playing, whether they've been off the pitch coaching, whether they're just parents or whatever. That travels, and that goes into the fans as well. You're respectful for, plus we can all handle our drink as well. So
yeah, very good. Okay. Go on, Dave. Your thoughts on all this?
The only sport that needs this is soccer. Like, no other sport that I've been to needs segregation of fans because there's never any violence in any Gaelic football, hurling. It's only soccer.
So
like,
why are they trying to bring it in?
Who knows? Like, look, I got to get lynched for saying this, but the worst I've ever seen in all the rugby matches I went to was 2 years ago at Thomond Park, because I'm always in the East Terrace, and a load of Ulster supporters came in, and they were hurling dogs abuse at every fan in front of them, at every player on the pitch, and I go to the Ulster game regularly. I've never seen that before, so it was a real soccer attitude. But like, still afterwards, when we hammered them, I walked up and I went, "Good game, lads." You know, but that's the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, you probably deserved it. In fairness,
no, we hammered them. But the point is, they'll probably hammer us this year, definitely the way things are going. But the point is, that's the worst I've seen, and I've like, we love French teams coming to Thomond because they're such good crack. Like, the fans are amazing that come from France. They walk past me in the East Terrace, you give them a pat in the back. Like, I mean, I've had Matt and Thomond as well. We've had loads of Leinster lads in the heart of the terrace. Nothing. And that's the biggest rivalry. You think that would be the one that get the most kind of antsy, but it never did.
Come here, point of order, lads. Point of order. We're 50 minutes into the show, and we still haven't mentioned that Connacht were the only team to win last weekend.
Did they?
No, but that was covered. That's Monday night show, James. Pay attention.
You had to get that in there.
Yeah, Caolan, I want to ask you, Caolan. Moving on to our list.
Just Peter on that. Is
it about Twickenham again?
No, has it not
been about South Africans
that some of the supporters that are going to rugby were originally soccer supporters, and maybe they come from a different, they don't have the rugby ethos, and I don't know. There's got to be some reasoning behind this, and maybe this is happening in England. So who knows?
No, sorry, Mike. But sorry to cut across you, but no, they are trialing this. It was brought up, I think, last year, but I don't think it transpired into anything. So now what they're doing, it is definitely going ahead. They are trialing this at the Leicester v Northampton game, the derby, in May. Dedicated away fan zones, which, as we've all, I think, kind of agree, is not needed, is not necessary. It's not a rugby thing. Sorry, Mike, go on. When you're finished picking your nose.
No, I was just cleaning me.
You're cleaning your nose with your finger. Caolan. All right. Nina Bar, Caolan. Has he overstayed his welcome, Caolan, at Leinster? Is his style still working?
I think it's still working. I would probably point at the changing dynamics. That sounds like a really strange way of putting it, but just how Leinster's squad is changing. To be honest, that's what I put it off rather than the University of a good coach. They still have a very good defense. Discipline has been very poor this year. I think they're second worst by URC stats for yellow cards or something. So discipline is still an issue, but I think defensively they're still pretty sound. But I do look at Leinster's depth chart, and you look at Will Connors, Kieran Frawley leaving, the McGrath's leaving. They've lost Ross Maloney, they've lost Ross Byrne in the past. Rhys Ruddock has retired. I think that's more of an issue, to be honest, because we don't have as many of these, proper pros in the second layer of that depth chart. You might be playing European games, and I think it's kind of feeding off of that, because asking, say, Hugh Cooney and Charlie Tector to lead the week with that defensive system, that's tricky. Do you know what I mean? Like that is tough going. But also at the same time, Leinster conceded 31 points. I should know this. I did cover the game. I think it was 31 points.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you did.
But they also conceded a maul try. So Nina Barrell won his hand up. That's not my fault. And two of the best individual tries that you will see all year, which Glasgow have the ability to do. Now, you may say that's as much on him, but also Josh McKay against Jimmy O'Brien one-on-one. You probably Brack O'Brien 9 times out of 10 just gets a little bit flat-footed, and it's a try in the other end. And so I'm not jumping to the defence in Ian Albert. I think ultimately he was brought in to win European Cups, and that's what he will be judged on. Big season for him on that, because I don't think Leinster are favourites for Europe, not by any means. No. But I wouldn't be judging him on, say, Cardiff and Glasgow in the URC, I don't think that's his remit. And I think he can only work with what's there, and I don't think it's as stacked as it once was, to be quite honest. I think that's
So,
more
so,
of an issue.
so does the Neon Arbor effect only happen when Leinster have a fully stacked team in the Heineken Cup?
I think
Is that what you mean?
not direct, not 100%, but I do think that's part of it, because ultimately that's where sometimes just better players come in, and the more intricate system they will shine and they will flourish into. Like Jordy Barrett had never really played that kind of system, but he did not look out of place last year because he was world class, and he'd be world class if you put him in the second row because he's that type of player, you know. So I do think some of it is down to the kind of the talent. And look, ultimately, I looked it up. Leinster, this is their quickest 5th loss in the last 10 years. They don't lose 4 or 5 games in the league season that often. Very, very rarely. So, to me, is that all in the defence? No, even though they are a little bit stale currently.
But if you're comparing Barrett is a one-off. He's a freak. He's a world-class individual player. But then Ione hasn't shone really for Leinster, Caolan.
No, and he's been
Bad purchase.
like, honestly, like, he's been disappointing. I was never really a big fan of it because I thought the whole reason you get Barrett in is because he can just do anything. You know, you put him on wing, full back, 12. Don't think he ever played 13, but you could have put him there.
You put him in 10 and he would have been better than what was there as well.
Whereas Rico, it's like, well, this is a guy who's past his best. They haven't really found a position for him the last 2 or 3 years as he's lost a bit of pace. He seems to be struggling a tiny bit at 13, that outside shoulder. It's like, yeah, maybe it wasn't the right on. And there was talk that Leinster wanted Damien Willemstad, who would have been more of a Barrett type player. And maybe they just went for the second cab off the rank and got it wrong. And I know, you know, Leinster don't get it wrong too often with signings, especially the big name guys. They may have just got this one wrong. But ultimately, again, he'll be judged if he wins the European Cup. No one cares how he played against Glasgow. You know, that's the other side of it. So.
Hand on your heart, Caolan. We're a bit out yet, but can you see Leinster reaching a Heineken Cup final this year? Because I can't.
I can see them reaching a final because I think their path is pretty manageable. Like, their toughest game would be Glasgow. I don't see them turning over Toulouse or Bordeaux. I think they're just levels above. Like, even Bordeaux played at, you know, like they played at 40%, 50% for parts of last year's final. You know, and they still do a very good Northampton team out of the water. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Go on, James Grennan. I'd just be intrigued, just from the outside looking in. You being a Connacht man, the Nienaber effect. Some Leinster fans, James, just feel it's just not working anymore.
I don't know, to be honest, Pete.
Okay.
Leinster definitely have gone back in recent times, and maybe is it all down to Nienaber? I doubt it.
No, I don't think you can say that. No.
I wouldn't like to, criticize the guy. He's done a lot of good stuff there for Leinster, but to be honest, as a Connacht supporter, it doesn't really bother me.
Well, you see, this is the whole point of a bloody podcast, that everyone has a thing. Anyway, go on, Matt. I'll leave you to last on this because you're the only other Leinster supporter here. Dave Sheedy, any thoughts on this?
Boy, he has.
Look, me and Mikey are in the No More Mercenaries Club, and it's exclusive between the two of us, right? No, it's just, look, the South Africans have a different style of rugby. Ian Barr did nothing at Munster. And I'll be honest, when he signed, like, when I saw Lancaster was going, when Lancaster came into Leinster, straight away I remember saying to my father, we won't beat them for 5 years now until that fella's gone. The minute Ian Barr came in, I was just like, good, we'll have a chance now. I don't rate him. I never have. I know people can say he's done X, Y, and Z with South Africa. It's Razzie. Razzie's done all that. And it's just Ian Barr's. He obviously does something. But, like, the only clip of the Leinster game I saw was Jimmy O'Brien getting skipped around and flown past, and then Ione, like, pulling up, not bothering his arse tackling. So, that's not the commitment that we're used to from the Leinster defence.
Yeah, no, I know. Okay, fair enough. All
You
right.
know?
Okay, before we go on to our last topic, Mike Reedy, briefly on this. I know you're going down the bursary route.
No,
Briefly
you're
and
not
Mike don't go
look, it's
together.
been a catastrophic disaster as far as I'm concerned.
All
The
right,
whole, I mean, the world class players playing for Leinster and playing for Ireland have looked ordinary. See, it started the Six Nations, because they only had 2 weeks training under Andy Farrell. The difference between how the Leinster players were even playing at the beginning as against how they played in the last few matches was fucking night and day. And it's very apparent, very apparent. Gary Ringrose is a shadow of the player he was 2 years ago.
That's it, Mikey.
Yeah.
Ringrose missed
Yeah.
tackles.
Caolan Doris looks fucking world player of the year. Van der Fleer. The players are looking ordinary. Harry.
no, I don't agree with that. Doris is playing out of his game.
No. They were looking ordinary compared to what they were 2 years ago. No, they are not. They're world class players, and they'll never lose that ability. But they're playing a system that does not suit them. It doesn't suit Irish rugby, and it doesn't suit Leinster rugby. I will put my hands up. Leinster will not win. They won't win the URC either, as far as I'm concerned. Not playing the way they're playing right now. They have to get by Glasgow, and I don't see them doing that.
Do you not think a full strength Leinster team will beat Glasgow? Like,
no, I'll tell you. Listen, look at Harry Byrne.
okay.
Harry Byrne had to go and play in England for a year to become a better player. That's concerning. Young Prendergast has become it's an enigma for the poor boy. He doesn't know whether to stick or twist. He's playing a system that does not suit him at all.
2-2, lads.
2-2. I just saw that. Bev just posted it there. Yeah.
Leinster rugby needs to go. He needs to go now even before the end of this season, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Okay. Let's just wrap it up with the games coming up, because I think Caolan and a few others might want to watch the end of the game if it goes to a penalty shootout. Okay, Caolan, I'll give you last on this. Really, games coming up. Let's do our usual: win, lose, or draw. Who's winning? Who's losing? Who's drawing? Leinster entertaining Scarlets tomorrow. James, go for it.
Yeah, that's a Leicester win, I think, even with the Nybar.
No.
I think.
Okay. Okay. Bulls, James, are taking on Munster.
I think Bulls. Unfortunately, I have to say Bulls on that one.
All right. Your team, Connacht, you're taking on the Ospreys. You'll be at it.
I will be at it. It's going to be a tighter game than people expect. I think we'll have enough to do it, but it's going to be very close. I think the Ospreys have a lot to fight for. They're fighting for their survival, and other than a top 8 position. But I think we hopefully will have enough to do.
Yeah, a big game for Connacht with the way the table is 8 and 9th. Okay, and finally, James, Zebra are playing Ulster.
Ulster. I think Ulster needs bounce back after last week.
Okay. Thanks, James. Matt, Leinster playing Scarlets.
Leinster.
All right. Bulls entertaining Munster.
Oh, that's in South Africa, is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Altitude.
Yeah, I don't know. Munster weren't great last weekend. I would expect them to put up a better performance, but I don't think
they might score a try. Like,
yeah, well, I don't think they'll beat Bulls.
Okay, Connacht are taking on Ospreys, Matt.
You got to go with Connacht.
All right. Zebra taking on Ulster.
Yeah, Ulster.
Okay. Mike Reedy, to you, same. Leinster v Scarlets.
Leinster.
All right. Bulls against Munster.
I'm even as a Munster fan.
It goes apart. It goes against every fibre of my being.
Watching it like this.
Well, give us your winner.
I genuinely think they have no fucking chance. How does that sound? None.
All right. Okay. Connacht entertaining Ospreys.
Connacht.
Okay. Zebra v Ulster.
I think Ulster will do that as well.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Dave Sheedy, Leinster playing Scarlets.
You'd have, with Harry Byrne in there now, you'd have to back Leinster to do a real job now and, bite back after last week.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Bulls, your team, Dave, away, Munster away to the Bulls.
Joe, it'd be just typical that they go out and they'd win this fucking game. But
Unlikely.
no, it would be. It'd be typical of them, you know.
No, they won't do it. No.
I don't think they've the personnel or the belief in the squad to do it. So I want to go on record. I absolutely hate South African teams, but you'd have to go with Bulls.
Okay. Connacht are taking on Ospreys, Dave.
I agree with James. I think that's going to be a lot closer than what people think, but I think Connacht will just have enough to get over the end.
Okay. And Zebra v Ulster.
Yeah, Ulster, of course.
All right. Okay.
Is that
okay?
Is that in Ravenhill?
No, it's in Zebra. Zebra. The first team is always home that you call out.
Parma.
Yeah, I'll stick with
Okay.
Ulster.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Caolan Scully, last point from the show. Let's the penalty shootout. Let's come off this. Leinster entertaining Scarlets.
Leinster pretty comfortably. Scarlets have a couple of injuries at the moment, including a hooker. I think they're down 2 or 3 men there alone. So yeah, Leinster win this handily enough.
Okay. Bulls taking on Munster, Caolan. That's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be tough. I mean, no set piece, no win is what the French say. No scrum, no win. That's kind of going to decide it, really. Like, even with Holly Lewis and the scrummaging referee at the helm, so I go Bulls comfortably enough, to be honest.
All right. Connacht entertaining Ospreys, Caolan, out west.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fast track will suit Connacht. I don't know what the weather's promised. Probably going to change 5 times during the game, anyways. But
Yes.
fast track suit, and I think they'll.
Oh, my lad.
Yeah, it's Galway, Caolan, of course. It's going to change 5 times in an hour, yeah. Okay, and finally, Zebra entertaining Ulster. Zebra at home.
Yeah, Ulster should win. I know Zebra beat them last year, but still, it's Ulster in a pretty good spot. They've got McCluskey back. They've got, Stockdale back, guys like that. So can't see anything else, really.
Yeah. All right. Okay, folks, that is all we have time for. We're again over time. Our collective thanks, my collective thanks especially, are to James Grennan, to Matt Boland, to Mike Reedy, and to Dave Sheedy, and to our special guest, who has absolutely been a font of knowledge and a very, very enjoyable chat. Thank you, Caolan Scully. Folks, Caolan has a Substack. Google it. It's a fantastic read. Brilliant writer. Highly recommended. Caolan Scully, thank you very much for your time.
What's a Substack?
Caolan Scully.
Caolan Scully Media, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's what it is, yeah.
It sounded like another social media thing that I'm not aware of.
There you go. Okay, right. Grand job. Okay, folks, listen, thank you. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And come on, Ireland, win the football stuff for all of us.
Ball.
Take care. Take care.
Good luck.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
God bless.
Thanks very much.